Hey guys, I'm back again, and today I wanted to show you how I did these cute little snowflake designs. But before we start, I really wanted to address using the right tool for the job. So a lot of people will try and do detailed designs with just gel polish. And I mean, yeah, you can do designs with gel polish, but you're not going to get your best work. So when I do anything in white, I use a white painting gel. I've used a few of them over the years. They're all pretty good. This one is my favorite so far. It's from Lisa Con, UK. I'll put the link in the description box below. But it is a very thick gel, and you can get super fine, detailed lines, like in this one. All of the middle lines, well, all of the middle pieces have a separate line, and they were so fine I could barely see them with my own eyes. So get yourself some painting gel if you want to do designs that have a lot of detail. It's really thick, it's really pigmented, and it will give you the best results. You'll thank me, I promise. It's totally worth the money. I've had this pot for, I don't know, about 5 months now, and I've barely used a fraction of it. So for the £12 that it costs, it's really worth it. I'll try, if I can figure it out, I'm going to try and show you a side by side. I did this design in the gel polish and it wasn't great. So I'll try and figure that out. But for now, we'll just jump in. I'm going to do this one first because this is the one that I tried with gel polish. And it's pretty easy, especially if you have a good painting gel. So what I'm going to do is get my brush loaded up. I'm working the paint into the bristles to make sure that they're fully covered and it's soaked up all on the inside. Before I do anything on the nail, I always, I guess, prime my brush on my nail so that I can get even coverage of the gel on the bristles. If you leave the gel too long on the bristles, it tends to go into a little ball at the end, and sometimes it will just gather in random spots on the bristles. So I always just level it out and make sure that it's even before I start. I don't want too much on my brush because snowflakes are very delicate. So I'll go along beside where I've just primed it and see what kind of line I'm going to get. So I want something probably between these two. Now I've done this hundreds of times, so I know how much paint I need on my brush. Okay, here we go. We're going to make the first one up in the corner here. I'll just do one line down the middle, like that. Oh, I think it's a bit longer actually. So if I'm going over the same line twice, I always just find the tip of the brush, lay it down in the polish, and line everything else back up before I drag it down. I'm not using the whole length of my brush. I'm probably only using the first third of the section that's actually colored in. If you put the whole thing on the nail, it's not going to work great. So just use the very third end of it. I got polish on my finger. Okay, and then we're going to go one across, is also going to be a long one. So hopefully you can see over on the other side now the difference between the gel paint and the gel polish. So can you see how at the end of this brush it's kind of gathered in some awkward positions? If I were to lay that on the nail now, it would give me uneven lines. So I'm going to go in and just prime that and make sure that everything is even. You can always go over the line again if it's not thick enough, but you can't really take it away. So these middle ones are a bit shorter. We're just going in a star pattern like that before we add in oh shoot, all the little other lines. Okay, I'll start at the top and I'll just work my way around and you can watch what I do. So that is all of the lines done. Now I'm going to do the little dots that are on the ends. It really just finishes off the design. So when I use my dotting tool, I do the same thing on my thumb. I make sure that the dot is going to be the right size that I want. That's going to be way too big. So I keep going along and I think that is an appropriate size. So I've put them at the end of every line. So I'll go in and put a dot at the end. If you don't have enough, you've got your little thumb palette there, you can go back and pick up some more. I can't see this one because it's on the side of the nail. So that's that done. And there was another one at the bottom, but it's only a portion of it. So I'll pretend like I'm going to do the whole thing in my brain, but I'm not going to. So this is the top line. And of course it would come down to about there. And the side ones are a little bit shorter, like that. And then I'll just go in and do the lines. See, and I've messed that up. That's okay because it's only on the bottom of the nail. If you're doing a client's nails and you're not happy with the design, they're not going to be happy with the design either. And it takes 2 seconds to just wipe it off and start over. Obviously, you don't want to be doing this all the time because it's time consuming. You can flash cure in between if you want. If you were happy with the initial star, then you could flash cure that. And then if you had to erase some, then it wouldn't take all of your work off. Next, let's do this one. This is my favorite one. It's super duper delicate and I am going to flash cure in between because I don't want to be doing these delicate lines again. So I'm not going right in the dead center of the nail for this one. I'm going off to one side and then the other one will be at the bottom off to one side as well. So for this, I don't want barely any paint on my brush at all. I want it to be super duper delicate. So play around on your thumb and see how much polish you need. Here we go. Super duper delicate. Okay, so that is the star pattern finish. I'm going to put that into flash cure because I don't want it to get ruined. Okay, we'll take that one out. So that's flash cured, that's not going anywhere. You will need to do a full cure at the end, but for now we're just going to put on the dots. So they're going from the middle, they're quite big, and then as they go up, they get smaller. I've got 3 dots on each line, so I'm going to try and put them all in the same spot the whole way around so that they begin at the same spot. There we go. That one is done. Get in the light, you. This one is quite big and it sits right in the middle of the nail. Oh dear. This is probably the most challenging design because of these things. If your lines aren't all equally spaced, then it's going to look a bit strange. So I'll try and replicate that again, but it was very difficult the first time that I did it. So we'll see. Try and make it even. So look on this side, see how much space you have, and look on this side and try and make it in the middle. You can probably see now that the polish has been on the brush for too long, or the paint, so it's bubbled up at the end. So I need to go back in and prime that brush. So I'm laying it straight. That looks like the middle to me, and I'll make sure when I come over this side that there's the same amount of space as well. Okay, I'm going to flash cure that because I don't want to do that again. Okay, so this has been cured. Now what I'm going to do is use my dotting tool to create the tops of all the triangles that are in between these so that I can see where I'm coming from and I can get it right in the middle. You don't want it to be too close to the center of the snowflake because you won't be able to get good definition. So try and do it about 3/4 of the way up between the two lines and keep them all the same height the whole way around. You don't want your dots to be too big at this point because they're just guide dots. Okay, so that is where I'm going to be working from. And I'm only going to be using the very, very tip of my brush this time. A lot of people use a fine detail brush for things like this, but I really like this striping brush, so I use it for most things. So I'm going to go from the dot down at like a 45-degree angle and try and keep it consistent on either side. So I've came down about that far. So on this one, I want to come down about the same length. Yeah, and just do that the whole way around. So this time I'm going to be coming to this line. Once you do the first little mountain peak, then it's not so hard to gauge where you need to go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Maybe not this little piece down here. It looks a bit sad. I'm going to pop that in for cure just for 10 seconds so that I don't have to wipe it off and start again. Okay, here we go. Again, I'm just using the top part of my brush to create these lines. So I'm going straight to the very top of the line. I'm not going underneath of it. With the first line, it's going to meet just the top. Oh, I've cured that. Bloody hell. So what happens when you stick your nail in a light? At least it wasn't my brush. Okay. So make a V at the top. I don't have any there. At the top of each line, gets a little V. Try and do them all the same angles. It is hard, but you get the hang of it. Okay, so that's that done with the lines. Now we're going to do the dots. And they're just going at the end of every line and at the end of every point, and then 1, 2, 3 in the middle. So for the middle lines, I'm going to put a little bit of polish or paint in the middle here so that I can go back and pick up some more if I need to. But I want the dots to go from big to small. So I'm going to do 3 dots with the same load. So I'm going from the outside in. If it's not big enough, then just keep touching it until it is. So these are all going to get a layer of matte top coat. This is the one that I'm using from MIG. I have it left over from when I was doing videos for them last year. So I'll just put a layer of this matte top coat on all of the nails. I'll put them into cure and then I'll take them out and show you how I put the gems over matte top coat. So all of those nails have been matte top coated. They're in the lamp just now, and I'm going to use this bad boy to put on the gems. So I think I got this off AliExpress or eBay. I don't know. I was just looking through and I came across it. It actually came in the mail and I wondered, what the hell is that? I have no idea what that is. But it was called Drill something. It's worn off the label now. But it has this little end here that's literally needle thin that you can use to put on the gel, or it has a brush end as well if you were going to do a thicker arrangement of gems. But for this I'm going to use a little needle end, and we'll start with this one. I think this is the size gems that I used before. Where's my gem picker? Here it is. This is my gem picker. I've had it for years. It's battered and dirty, but it does the job. So I'm just going to squeeze this lightly and put it in the middle where I want my gem to be. And it'll just be a little blob of gel. Because it's a matte top coat, I'm not going to go over it again like I would normally do. If I was using a shiny top coat, I would go over the whole thing and seal in around the gem. So for this, I'm just going to make sure that it's pushed right down into that gel and that some of the gel gets around the edges of the gem so that it will stay on. I've had really good results with this, so I'm not worried about them going anywhere. Okay, so that's it for me and the snowflake nails. I hope you like them, and I hope this has made things a little bit easier for you. If you have any questions about line work or products, check out the description box and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.